So should I
Okay.
begin?
Well, everyone knows what I say now, right? You can all say it along with me. So please introduce yourself,
Yes, I
tell
will.
us where you are, and if you would, please tell us a story.
Sure. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gehi. I'm from Mumbai, India. And before I begin my story, I really want to take this opportunity to thank Eric for curating this wonderful platform. I'm sure we all are having a great time all these weekends of February. So, Eric, thank you so much for curating this awesome festival, which is international, and for giving me the opportunity to share a story. So, before I begin, I would like to invite you to come and soak in the story. Sit back, listen, soak into the story, and do join me in singing wherever you can. But yes, with your mics muted. Hava Nagila Hava Nagila Hava Nagila Venus Meha Hava Nagila Hava Nagila Hava Nagila Venus Meha Hava Niranina Hava Niranina Hava Niranina Venus Meha Hava Niranina Hava Niranina Avani Ranina Venismeha. Who was this singing such a happy, joyful tune? Thought the king, who was disguised as a beggar and was wandering the streets of his kingdom at night time. He wanted to see, observe how people of his kingdom lived. Were his people really happy? Because he certainly did not feel happy despite having all the possible comforts and luxuries in the world. He had reached the outskirts of his kingdom, where the lanes were so narrow and the houses looked as if they were about to crumble. It was indeed a poor neighborhood, and he kept walking from where he heard the sound. And soon he was outside the house of the person singing, Hava, Nagila Hava, Nagila Hava. On knocking, a smiling middle aged man opened the door, and this beggar king said, I heard your joyful singing and was drawn to your place. May I come in? To which this person with a beaming smile said, of course, please come in. A guest is a gift from God. Would you like to share some bread and soup with me? The king hesitantly said, sure, maybe I could have some. But may I ask you something? How is it that you were singing such a happy, joyful tune? What makes you so happy in such appalling conditions? To which the person said, ah, yes, I am very happy and grateful for all that I have. The beggar king looked around. All that he could see was a table, a chair, a mat with a blanket on it. What was there to be so happy? And then he curiously asked, what do you do for a living? To which this person said, I'm a cobbler. I mend shoes at the end of the next road. Take, please have some soup. Now, the beggar king was stumped and he said, and that gives you enough money to survive? To which this cobbler said, oh, yes, absolutely. All day I help people by fixing their shoes. All for the day, cook, eat, sing. Hmm, okay. And what about tomorrow? Don't you worry about the future? To which the cobbler said, "Ah, why worry about something that hasn't happened yet? Besides, I have faith that I will be taken care of day by day. The beggar king now smiled and said, "And who do you think will take care of you? The king? I've heard he's really good to his citizens." Good to his citizens, I agree. But for me, my Almighty takes care of me day by day. The king was stunned. Such faith, such gratitude, despite having so little. He wanted to get to the bottom of this. He wanted to test the faith of this cobbler. So the next morning, he issued a proclamation which said that all cobblers must cease work immediately. No shoes to be made or repaired for pay. And that evening, when the king, once again disguised as a beggar, walked in these narrow by lanes, he was pretty sure. And he wondered, today this person must be singing some sad song. He mustn't have earned anything, I'm sure. And soon he reached the lane where this cobbler lived, and to his surprise, he heard, Hava, Nagila, Hava, Nagila, Hava, Nagila, Venisliha. Once again, a smiling face opened the door, and he welcomed the beggar king, and he asked, I heard of the new decree today. How did you manage to earn your meal? To which the cobbler said, My friend, I told you my God is great. He takes care of me day by day. Today I heard of the king's proclamation, so I joined some woodcutters in the forest. All day I chopped wood. I sold the firewood in the market. And see, I have earned my meal. The king was fuming from within. He felt so defeated at not being able to shake this cobbler's faith. So the next morning, he issued another proclamation which said, all woodcutters to be recruited as guards in the palace. Now, these woodcutters were given swords, they were given uniforms, and they were made to march all day in the palace. But they would get their pay only at the end of 30 days. That is at the end of the month. And that evening, the king, once again disguised as a beggar, walked in these narrow by lanes. And this time he was pretty sure that he's been successful in shattering this cobbler's faith. And he reached outside his house and heard a deafening silence. I've done it. Hava, Nagila, Hava, Nagila. He entered this house and he was so curious. He asked his cobbler, How did you manage to earn your meal today? I heard of the other proclamation from the king. My friend, I told you the Almighty takes care of me day by day. Today, all day, I marched at the king's palace, but then I was told that I would be paid at the end of 30 days. I knelt and I prayed to my God for a solution. And then I opened my eyes and I saw the royal sword in front of me. I took it out from its sheath and examined it. It was indeed a very fine blade. So I went to the forest and I cut a limb of a tree and I made an identical blade of wood and put it in the sheath. And that royal fine blade, I sold it in the market. And see, the money that I have, I could earn my today's meal and I have enough for the next 30 days. The king wanted to punish this cobbler then and there, but he controlled himself and then said, What? Are you serious? Did you do that? What if there's a sword inspection tomorrow? You could be executed. My friend, I told you I do not worry about something that hasn't happened yet. Besides, I have the one who takes care of me day by day. The next morning, the captain of the guards caught a random man from the marketplace and called this cobbler and said, This man is a thief. And by the order of the king, you have been instructed to chop off his head. This guard, this cobbler, he knelt and he said, no, I cannot take the life of another human being. Please choose someone else. It's the order of the king. Cut off his head right now, or it is your neck that is on the line. This poor man, he knelt and he prayed. He prayed a little and he thought a little. He thought a little and he prayed a little. And then he got up, looked up at the heavens. By then, a huge crowd had gathered around the palace, and he said in a voice loud enough for everybody to hear, my dear God, I have been instructed to take the life of this man, and you know, I have never even hurt a fly. Please be my witness. Give me the strength that if this man is indeed guilty of the crime that he's been accused of, give me the strength to pull out the sword and chop off his head. But if this man is innocent, please turn my sword into wood. And with that, he took out his sword and flashed it in the air for everybody to see. And it was indeed made of wood. The crowd gasped. Some even knelt at the miracle they had just witnessed. And the king, who was watching all this from the balcony, came down and said, my dear friend, I am the guest that you have welcomed so generously into your house each night. And today I invite you to be my guest. I am in awe, in complete awe, seeing you live with so much joy, faith, and happiness. I challenged you, but in every situation, you chose faith, gratitude, happiness. And today I invite you to be my advisor and teach me to live just the way you live, with absolute faith, happiness, and contentment. That night, this poor man, this cobbler, the woodcutter, and now the king's advisor joined the king and they had dinner together. And you know which song they must have sung, right? Shall we all join them in singing? Come on, let's all join them. Hava, Nagila, Hava, Nagila, Hava, Nagila, Venus, Meha, Hava, Nagila, Hava, Nagila, Hava, Nagila, Venus, Meha, Hava, Niramina, Hava, Niramina, Hava, Niramina, Venus, Meha, Hava, Niramina, Hava, Niramina, and with that, I wish you all abundance of happiness, joy, contentment, and faith in your life. Thank you and shukriya.
Okay, thank you very much. Anybody, any thoughts?
Thank you, Eric.
Meher, I love the way you told that story. It's a fantastic I love telling that story myself, but you tell it with such kind of vivaciousness and energy. It's amazing. I heard that story first here at one of Eric's events from another storyteller who's here at the event, and she's here now, called Banu Mathi. And I heard that back in the spring, and I've been telling it ever since, and now I've heard it from you. It's wonderful.
Thank you so much, David. This compliment coming from you means so much. I keep listening to your story videos. You're such an inspiration for all of us. Thank you so much.
Meher?
Hi, Ramya.
Hi. I had such a great time listening to your story, and the pacing and the music. And though we were all expecting that sword with the wood to come out, but that moment of anticipation, and it was just so wonderful to listen to you. And I think this phrase of day by day, I think day by day, day by day, let's all live by each day. So thank you so much, Meher. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramya, for that reflection. Thank you so much.
Meher, you brought our energy levels up. It was a nice story. You made us all kids once again. I enjoyed the story thoroughly. Thank you
Thank you
for
so much.
telling the story to all of us today.
Thank you, Zarin.
Thank you.
Here I'm new to storytelling, and I just loved the way you told the entire story. I wish I could be like you soon.
You will get there. Don't worry if the intention is there.
I'm coming.
Thank you.
Meher, the story, one of my first stories, like I did it for school children happiness stories during the pandemic because they all were missing the school. But the way you narrated it, that song especially, it's so beautiful. it's it's taken it to altogether a different level. Beautiful narration. Loved it.
Thank you. Thank you, Shri. Thank you so much.
Yes, Meher, your song, I'll take it away from you and it will remain in my head and heart for quite some days. I really loved it. Beautifully narrated. Keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Lovely story, Meher. Enjoyed your narration. I love the song. I love the way you sing it. And what language is that, by the way?
So, yeah, I did not give you a brief of what the story is, right? It's a Jewish folk tale and it's based in the land of Afghanistan. So, this is a Jewish folk song. And when there's a story behind this too. The Jewish folk song I used to hear when I used to take my daughter when she was like a year or two to some music class, and they used to sing songs from different cultures and languages. And this song stuck on to me. So when I was researching on the story and I wanted a Jewish song, and this came up, and I'm like, wow, this is a sign that I should tell this story.
Actually, it's so melodious and it went beautifully with the story. I really loved it. And actually, it's such a strange thing because I think David was saying he listened to the story here from Banu, and I've listened to it from you. And actually, I heard the story the first time and I shared the story at one of the American story swaps. I think it was at South Sound Storytelling Guild when one of the storytellers had shared the story, and it was so amazing for me to hear the story once again from you. And it's
Thank you. Thank you so much, Renu, for those kind words.
Story with the song is always a meher. Lovely narrated. Keep rising there.
I think there's a good reason, Renu, why this story is bouncing around the world. Because it's a story that is exactly for these times we're living in. Having to have faith when everything seems to be against us, what with the pandemic, climate change, etc. Just having to keep that faith that things may turn out okay. It's hard to imagine sometimes.
Yeah, so true, David. So when I was told the theme is healing and I had to choose a story, this story came to my mind because in these times we are always oscillating between the past, the future. It's so tough to just endure these current times and go through it, be in the present. And an honest confession, I keep oscillating too between past, future, past, future. So this story somewhere talks to me that, okay, be here, you know, and have that faith that all will be well. And like Ramya very rightly said, day by day, one day at a time. Thank you, David.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric.
Yes, and by the way, Mayor and I did research about that song, and we were assured by experts that it was a good song to sing with that story.
Oh yes, I had to tell that. See, this whole thing I missed it. Eric was very kind, to get that song vetted from a Jewish storyteller who's an expert, and we wanted to be doubly sure before we get this. I perform this again. So Eric very kindly offered the help. He helped me check the song and get it vetted for the story. So thank you, Eric. That really, really meant a lot. Thank you so much.
It's a song that's often sung at Jewish weddings. So at first I was surprised to hear it sung with a story like this, but we were assured by experts, so that was settled.
Yes. Thank you for getting that story to the platform, Eric. It needed to be mentioned that how much research it's needed before we get a story, especially when it, see, I mean, Jewish is not the culture I come from. So it was very important to be sure of the song with the story. So Eric did help me there. Thank you.
And the woman who approved it even congratulated you on your Jewish accent.
Yes, yes, I recollect that. And I recollect you asking me if I am a Jew. No, that just comes, I guess, because I kind of enjoy the song so much, probably.
Sometimes your name is also a Jewish name sometimes, Meher.
Yes, yes.
Is the language Yiddish or Hebrew?
Sorry?
In the
The
song.
language of the song, is it in Yiddish or Hebrew?
I think it's Hebrew.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think so. I'll have to check what the language is, but
Okay.
Very good.